It's the classic summer recording. You know how it'd be.
Old style.
Old style. Going hard style. Sweat style.
In the Scion studio.
Exactly. Welcome to Scion Studios. Man, it makes it sound fancier than I actually am. But anyway, we'll go ahead and dive straight into the shit. Everybody, welcome to Post to Post. It's me, Will, one half of the Brothers of Discussion. Grayson will be back at some point. This week, the man, the myth, the forecasting legend, Weatherman, he's returned.
I don't know how good I'm going to be because I haven't really watched anything in forever. I watched 30 minutes of Raw, then that's the most wrestling I've watched in 5 months.
That's okay, because I mean it's new Raw. That's a record for making it 30 minutes in.
The first Raw and true first Raw under the new creative regime.
Oh God, I have high hopes. I really do. I mean, people are already like saying everyone's going to be leaving AEW to come back. I'm like, that's not how it works.
A lot of them are stuck under contracts.
Mm-hmm. That is, yeah. I mean, it's not like back in the day where they just be like, you know what, fuck you, I'm out, and just go to a new territory.
But we know at least one of Triple H's projects is coming back.
Yep.
That was ran off by the previous administration.
Mm-hmm. Sasha has and Naomi have pinned some lucrative deals to come back.
We talked about this off air.
Yep.
Was Naomi one of Triple H's project, or was she already established?
That I don't know. That I'm not sure.
We know Sasha was.
Yeah, Sasha came up through NXT. Naomi, I don't know. I just remember light up shoes and lots of neon colors. That's pretty much all I got.
And she married into the family.
Yeah. Was it Xavier Woods?
No, Usos.
Oh yeah, the Usos. That's right.
I think not the one that's got the alcohol problem. The good Uso, I think, is her husband.
Oh boy, the good Uso. That sounds really bad when you put it like that. If you think about it.
So I'll go and get this out of the way. The first hour, I missed the first 15 minutes because I was coming back home from meeting, but the 45 minutes I saw of Raw, 80% of it was in ring.
That's impressive because I remember episodes of Raw where they'd have maybe 30 minutes tops of in-ring work. And then the rest of the time was vignettes and soap opera.
Yeah, and what they did do backstage was an interviewer. There was no just a camera and we're just going to pretend the camera's not here and do our little thing. Mm-hmm. There was an interviewer.
Oh, good. And, so if anyone hasn't caught on, we basically just dove straight into fucking WWE talk because, I mean, yeah, AEW had their stuff recently, the ROH things, and I might touch on that a little bit, but the main nitty-gritty, in my opinion, for this week, sure, SummerSlam happened. I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't had the time to watch the whole pay-per-view, but I got the gist, and as we were saying before, people have already started to notice the hand of Triple H starting to do good things and puppeteer behind the scenes. We've started seeing improvements. Now, are they drastic?
Do we still call him Triple H, or should we start calling him Paul Levesque now? Being that he's now...
I'm almost of a mind that they're going to keep calling him Triple H from a professional standpoint, like on air.
But corporate's going
to call him Paul. I would assume that we'll just call him Triple H or Trips. Usually I stick to Trips because it's easier. I know there's the few people that just call him H, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does if you just think Hunter.
Yeah.
But, like I said, SummerSlam was quite nice. What I saw of it. I mean, no titles changed hands, which was surprising.
The crowd showed up, which kind of surprised me. I didn't know how good that would do as a stadium show. Yeah.
I mean, they had a hell of a turnout. And I think, honestly, part of the reason they had that big turnout is because they wanted to see what would happen to the first pay-per-view post-Vince.
I did like the lack of stage setup. The way they done my favorite, the old school corner, entranceway that goes to the angled entranceway.
Oh, they did an angled entrance?
Yes. They came out of one of the tunnels. You know, the football tunnels, of course, have been in a tunnel in the corner. So they came from the corner. It was just one big LED screen that covered the tunnel. And they came out and they done the angle into the ring.
Oh, very nice.
But there always is a negative. Now it seems that, I don't know how long they've had it, but now they have an LED banner that goes all the way around the guardrail on the hard cam side.
Yeah,
and that's just, to me, it's an eyesore.
Yeah, I agree. Those LED barricades are just distracting.
I hate the covers that AEW uses.
I don't mind the covers because, for me, the covers are, you know, sure, it's blatant advertising for AEW or whatever product Discovery as a whole, Warner Brothers Discovery's gonna, you know, have them shill. But at the same time, it's all you need. Like barricades, sure, that's okay. But I like them covered because then the theatrics, if they want to put someone's arm through the barricade and really like wrench on it, you've got to uncover it, kind of like the old school, like when they throw the apron up, you're like, oh, what's under here?
And
it just
with WWE throwing the apron up, it's about non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
But the fun thing about SummerSlam, if you notice, they couldn't do the LED because of the tractor.
Yes.
So that's the one downside. You can always tell they're going to do something with the ring is when all the LED stuff is not on the ring.
Yeah, exactly. When they get rid of the accoutrements, then you know something wild's going to happen.
I mean, I hate the LED ring posts. Those big, thick.
I can live, truly, I don't care for them either, but if there's one thing from the LED era that can stay, that's about all I would allow. The apron needs to be an apron, not a TV screen. The barricade should be a barricade, not an advertising board, because you're a half step away from being like the NBA and having fucking Rakuten advertisements on their trunks and shit. And that shit running across the fucking barricade, scrolling constantly. It distracts from the show. I want to see the wrestlers. I don't want to see the frivolous decoration.
And I think that if Kevin Dunn goes away, which I think is going to happen in the next 6 months. Yeah. Because the outside rumors was he was preparing to sell his stock off.
Oh.
I think all that's kind of his doing.
Yeah.
So I think the more the old Vince people get out, the more we may go back to a traditional wrestling show.
I'm thinking so too, because I mean, if we look at like Black and Gold NXT, it was bare bones, well, air quotes, bare bones, but it had that classic feel to it. And honestly, I'm a sucker for when the NXT like brand does the in your house and actually brings the house set back.
Yeah,
I can't deny coming up at the beginning, tail end of the golden era, beginning of the new generation era. As shitty as that era was, it still holds a special place in your heart because of all the cheese.
It looked good though.
It did.
TV.
It looked damn good on TV.
Well, even WCW, they had the Halloween Havoc graveyard set.
Oh yeah. As long as we don't talk about the Yeti, we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would call SummerSlam a success. Granted, I had to deal with stories about the Usos and Roman Reigns. I'm super, super excited about the possibility of their push slowly fading away and people with actual talent getting a chance.
But with that said, of the main roster right now, there's not really anybody I could see really challenging him for the belt. No, the one person who I think should be the one to overthrow Reigns is the NXT champion. Yeah. And he needs to be brought up as a Steiner.
I would be perfectly fine if he got brought up as a Steiner. I mean, we can call him, Braun Breaker, but if he comes up as what was it? Was it Bronson Rex Steiner?
Rex Steiner, I thought.
Yeah. Or just Rex Steiner.
Yeah, Rex Steiner is what I thought it was. Okay. It was a play off his dad's
last name. Yeah. Play off the real last name. I couldn't remember if
But the thing about it is, if they're going to do the Usos, the Bloodline thing, what's a better angle than Bloodline versus Bloodline?
Yeah, I mean, if there were more members...
Because the Usos are a tag team, the Steiner brothers are a legendary tag team, then you can have the two singles. You know, like, for instance, like, if you got the stories there. Like, you can have Steiner, I'm going to always call him Steiner. Steiner comes out, the Usos, you know, they get ready like they're going to triple team it, and then, hell, play the WCW Steiner music.
It would be nice. I think that's a good choice, but what I think is really going to happen more than anything is most likely Reigns, at the least, is going to keep his shit until next year. There's no chance it's coming off of him yet.
And I don't really have that much of a problem with it because he's doing the best work he's ever done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, truly he is.
How many years do we say Roman needed to be a heel?
Ages. But the only problem is still yet, Roman is only good when he has a good support group behind him. He can't fly solo. Even when he's solo, who does he have? He has fucking Paul Heyman behind him. That makes it a group. It's no longer a solo performer. It's a performer and a manager. They are now a group. He has to have a mouthpiece. From there, they added the Usos, his actual family, to it, created the bloodline. Now they basically have a 3-man family shield plus Paul Heyman.
Well, you got, I mean, the best of the business sometimes don't, they have to have that third wheel. The Midnight Express had to have Jim Cornette.
It's true.
Midnight Express was a great tag team, but they couldn't talk for shit. That's why they had to have Cornette. Just, you know, Tully Blanchard had to have J.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
We can just go on and on. Some people didn't need, you know, Dusty Rhodes never really needed Baby Doll.
No. Dusty was Dusty. He could ramble with the best of them. Flair could ramble with the best of them. It's just sometimes, you know, you can tell when the manager is an actual crutch and not like an enhancement piece. You know what I mean? Sure, we could say that...
We can say, pretty much say, Paul Heyman makes anybody he works with look good.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I hate fucking Brock too, but damn, he made Brock look good. I'll admit it.
I like Farmer Brock. I can't shit on it. Brock's been the best. Butcher, what do you want to call him? Butcher Brock? I still think this shit went with Butcher Brock.
I'll call him Backwoods Brock. But yeah, Backwoods Brock, Farmer Brock, Butcher Brock, whichever way you want to call it, not Beast Brock, has been the best Brock in ages. And this is coming from a person that hates Brock Lesnar because, again, he's another one of those talents that they shove down our throats for ages and ages because Vince was high on him, and Vince was like, hell yeah, I don't care if you work 2 shows a year, you're the champ. I mean, I'm just
better than Goldberg.
Well, I mean, the only time Goldberg was ever good was when I was a kid and didn't know any better. And so for nostalgia's sake, I still have a soft spot for Goldberg, but I want him as far away from any title pictures as possible. Plain and simple. He can come back and do...
I can't say much either. Bischoff got him over with the crowd. He got him over with the kids.
Oh, yeah. I remember being a big-time Goldberg fan when I was a wee lad.
And then I paid him years later. I learned that he actually ended Bret Hart's career.
Yeah.
After I learned to appreciate Bret Hart.
It took a while to... I mean, I loved Bret. It took me longer to appreciate Owen, which was the sad part. Because it's like, Owen... Because of the way they played him off, Owen was the snivelly, whiny little brother that annoyed the hell out of you. And me having a little brother, it hit closer to home character-wise. So I was like, I don't really like Owen Hart, but I really like Bret Hart. And then them being the anti-American Canadian heels era of Bret, I was like, fuck you, Bret. But no, you're really awesome, Bret. You know, it's one of those situations. I'm happy that I still enjoyed their work back then, but their characters were playing the way they needed. They were firing on all cylinders.
Could you imagine if WWE hired Bret Hart to be a trainer?
It's a pregnant pause for thinking because that's a nice thought. I like it. I don't
know if he could do much help with AEW.
I think he could. What he would need to do, in my opinion, is him and Regal need to more or less run a behind-the-scenes boot camp and whip some of the people into shape. There's a lot that even raw around the edges, they don't need a lot of like polish. Their polish is going to come from just more in-ring work, not so much behind-the-scenes practice. But there are some, holy shit, why are they on TV sometimes? But I still find it to be fewer than the majority. It's just, again, AEW runs more of that, you know, dash of the indie as opposed to the more, you know, polished mainline wrestling program. And it's going to take a few years for that to finally wear off. Because, I mean, we're what, in year
You're gonna be
3
year
now?
4, I think.
Is it year 4?
We're in
No. Year 3. Year 3 is this year. Because 2019 is when it started. Because 18 was All In.
Yeah.
And then the next year, 2019, was when it officially started with Double or Nothing that winter. And then the first Dynamite that fall. So, yes. So we're entering year 3. Still in the growing pain stages. They just need a real good booker. Not a Tony Khan.
They need to get rid of their bad habits.
They do have quite a few. I won't fault it.
I'll tell you what turned me off AEW the last time I watched it was Wardlow and Orange Cassidy. The fact Wardlow went 15 minutes with Orange Cassidy was...
I really don't mind that he did that because...
But you want to get him over as your next big guy. I mean, you go him 15 minutes against a guy he should squash in 5.
Thing is, with that, I've read a few different opinions on that, both from that one and then from the other side, and from the I like to more or less subscribe to the Orange Cassidy angle, where it's more of a psychological game as opposed to purely the way he's going to wrestle. The laziness is there to throw them off balance as opposed to truly be how he's going to do things. I mean, sure, it's fun to see him like do a dive off the top with his hands in his pockets. I'm okay with that. But, I mean, nothing's going to piss someone off more and throw them off their perceived game plan than doing the nonchalant, almost mocking of their effort. And from that angle, if you look at it from that, Orange is all up here. And he can actually go when he goes, right?
Yeah.
He can go when he goes. And the fact, also, I've got to give him clout because, I mean, fuck, he's the same age as I am. And that's pushing 40, so I'll give him benefit of the doubt. Now, from the standpoint of, should Wardlow squash fucking everybody?
No.
The thing that hurt Wardlow most for me was the 20-man match. That right there was absurd. I mean, was it fun to watch? Yes. But was it good? No. It's an absurd bar. And then when you balance that out with the next match, almost, which was him and Orange Cassidy, you're like, he just crushed 20 fucking people, and now he can't beat the lazy guy? That's kind of where you got your colored opinion coming from,
because
from
here's
what
the
I
thing,
see.
in my opinion, Wardlow is going to be an AEW guy because, like we said before, you can't take him to WWE because you already got Steiner. They're the same, pretty much the same.
It's a
character.
Yeah, very similar characters. Yes.
Because if he goes to WWE, they're going to have nothing to do because they're going to push the hell out of Steiner. MJF, I think he's WWE bound.
There's a high likelihood. I mean, if it's anything like
in a Triple H run WWE, I think MJF could prosper.
Survive.
And now they're going TV 14.
Yeah.
He's going to even have much more room to play with.
He could survive there now. The question is whether his absence is truly an absence, like legit, or if it's still a work like it was pre Double or Nothing. I don't know. Because, I mean, yeah, they cut the mic on him, but again, we can't take anything at face value. And this has been one of the few times where they haven't spoiled anything with that. There could be a clue, since they haven't fucking said anything to spoil it, and AEW's the worst at spoiling every fucking surprise they have.
Speaking of spoiling things, you know what I hate worse than anything? The media scrum.
The media scrum is weird,
It's
man.
not like New Japan.
I love a New Japan media scrum.
Theirs
It's like legit
theirs is
sporting
actually
interviews.
like, okay, how do you feel about your match? Where you go from here? Like, it starts like you see it tries to be that, but then it turns into, let's just expose the business.
Yeah, it gives up the ghost on all the fucking stuff that should remain kayfabe. It really
Followed
does.
by a lot of awkward hugs.
The Tony Khan hug is something that I'm okay with, but it is awkward. I mean, it kind of ruins the fact that we know that he's a fucking super fan.
And just so everybody knows, I don't really watch anything on TV per se, but when it shows up on YouTube, I kind of click on it.
YouTube and the various wink streaming services. But speaking of that and watching things, let's dive into what I think is the real meat and potatoes of this week. Ric Flair's last match. Now,
it was rough to me.
I mean, if we talk about that match, period, yes. Now, if we talk about the whole card, it really wasn't too bad.
I did see the Von Erich brothers. How did they look?
They looked really good, man. You could tell they're new, but they worked well.
I haven't really seen them, but I've heard different people say they got it.
They've got it. Now, what they need to do is not have this weird
Hawaii.
No, that's weird smoking guns.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, look.
Smoking gun, or more or less the Von Erichs going to the bunkhouse stampede look.
Yeah, I mean, blue jeans and cowboy hats. One of them with cowboy boots on, the other one classic barefoot Von Erich.
Somewhere Billy Gunn's going, hey!
Yeah, exactly. And Bart's like, motherfucker.
Bart still don't know where he's at from WrestleMania 15.
Butterbean knocked my shit in the 20 years ago. Jesus. But, yeah, they looked really good. I just think they need a different, appearance in ring.
I will say one thing. Compared to Flair in his match, Ricky Morton, you swear, was 40 years old.
You're not joking. And this was the slowest I'd ever seen fucking Morton work, too. And, I'm just thinking back.
Now, Morton was with his son, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's another one I've heard positive things about.
If he cuts off that fucking mullet, he'll be fine. Again, this is one of those things where it's more of window dressing, just isn't really working for him, in my opinion. Ricky's son has the nastiest fucking weirdo mullet that I've seen in a while. And then the Von Erich boys looking damn sharp.
And we're recording in Wilkesboro. That's saying something.
Yes, it is. But
it's race week.
Oh boy. Mullets and Bud Lights be damned. But yeah, if they get rid of the cowboy gimmick and go classic tights or something along those lines, I think they'll their whole gimmick will kind of coalesce a little better. Sure, they're billed from Dallas. They're going for the cowboy look.
Their dad's Kevin, right? Or is it?
Yes, Kevin.
Was he there?
No.
Okay.
No.
I know he's been doing some stuff with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has. But he was not there. But at the same time, for them going up against them boys, damn fine showing. It really was. They even got the claw on one of them.
I want to have a discussion about them boys.
Okay.
They say that it's an executive that doesn't want them on AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that. I think that's a cover-up. I think it's the Young Bucks don't want them because they're the better tag team. They can't stand the fact. They can't bury both them in FTR without it looking obvious.
It's true, but the Briscoes are completely signed to the new ROH. That's official. So they are there. So technically they're under the AEW umbrella, but they're in ROH.
But they're not going to be on national TV.
Oh, they will be soon because they've also announced that they do have the ROH program in the works. It's coming before too terribly long. So ROH is going to have a national television slot now. It's just when.
And I believe they lost Jonathan Gresham.
Well, that's one of the few things from Death Before Dishonor that irked me. One, I'm a big fan of Claudio, formerly known as Cesaro, as everyone listening knows. Big fan. Have been. Love the fucking Swiss cyborg. But Jonathan Gresham should not have lost that belt to someone that just signed. Because all that was, and I saw it coming as soon as I saw that match announced, I was like, fuck, Gresham's dropping this belt to Claudio.
But it was a quick squash too, wasn't it?
It was not a long match. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that beforehand, Gresham got into a big shouting match with Tony Khan.
Well, it's because
in the offices.
Belt being dropped.
Yeah, and I still believe that Gresham shouldn't have dropped it. A lot of people are saying Gresham doesn't have the character or the clout to be calling these shots. And Claudio deserved it more than him. Claudio's going to make the belt look better. I was like, you're not paying attention. Gresham has a wonderful character, and that character is made to be a die-hard purist wrestler. And it works. That's what people like about, say, your Daniel Bryan's, Bryan Danielson's, the Daniel Garcias, to a lesser extent, the Wheeler Yutas, even though I really like Wheeler Yuta. He's coming to his own. He's doing great. And the Zack Sabre Jr.'s. They're billed character-wise as technical wrestlers. And
but
it's glorious.
If you notice, too, they did the same thing as Zack Sabre Jr. They done to Gresham.
I know. It's because it was the curse of Danielson being injured. If he had been there, we would have had a couple technical tour de forces, I think. You would have had a different debut match for Claudio. I'm about 100% certain. And then also, I feel like he would have been less likely to have been in that title shot with Gresham. But, it sucks. I hate that that's how it went down. I hate that Gresham asked for his release. I wish he would stick around. But, apparently it soured the fuck out of him.
Boy, if Triple H had a talent relationship, picked him up for his vision.
Oh, God. Gresham would do well. I mean, Gresham's only fault is
short.
Yeah, he's just short. But the motherfucker is built. He's got the look. He's just, 2 feet tall. It sounds bad when I joke about Gresham like that because I'm a big fan of Gresham. But, that's how it be. But, so going back into the thing, because we can get back to Gresham here in a little bit. So the pre-show started off with a classic New Japan Young Lions on Excursion match. Ren Narita and Yuya Uemura. It's very good. It's very, very good. Even Crockett, David Crockett was enjoying it. He's like, so you're telling me these guys are like real technical, real shooters and stuff? I'm like, and Tony's like, yes. And then,
how did Tony do with just him and David?
They did real good, man. But the thing is, they also, for every special match, for the New Japan match with them, Riccaboni came out because Riccaboni works for ROH and he's the announcer for New Japan Strong. So he came out and he called it with them. So it was 3 people calling. David, since he doesn't do it all the time, he was kind of the supporting act, helping, making some little quips, asking good questions that they would answer, and things like that. So he was almost playing the role of the audience member that wasn't familiar with them. And I think that was a very good angle to have in commentary.
I did see they had the old JCP set.
Yeah, they did.
And I did like that.
Yeah, the JCP set was nice. Now, the following that match, which was very good, it was a classic Japanese strong style match. The finish was great. Yuya was coming off the ropes to dive over Narita. Narita scooped him under the shoulders and flipped it back into a bridged pin. So he scooped him out of the air and countered his momentum and just went into a bridged pin, got the 1, 2, 3, and it was just very lovely technical finish that you don't see too often. The next match was the Bunkhouse Battle Royal with the entirety of fucking GCW coming in and doing all the things. Now that wasn't bad. That part wasn't bad. It's just it didn't have a good flow to it.
Did it have Gage in it?
Gage came out to interrupt kind of the match just started and people were coming in like normal.
See, there's my problem with the Briscoes. AEW says, we can't put the Briscoes on because of what they said 10 years ago. But they put a bank robber on TV and lets him put a pizza cutter to Jericho's head during the Domino's commercial.
I'm okay with that. That part's fine. The bank robber part, no, but the Domino's pizza cutter part, where they just happen to air at the same time, I was like, that's fine.
It's just what we all think.
I love humorous coincidence. I really do.
I mean, I'm just saying, they can have somebody like that on their program, and that's okay, but the Briscoes said something in 2010 that they already apologized for years ago. It just seems like a very half-ass.
It's a weird court of public opinion thing, and I don't.
And considering nobody really makes a big deal about it now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the logic behind it, but it could be. But anyway, to circle back.
Circle back now.
Yeah, circling back. Gage came out. Because his music hit, he came out. He got an okay pop. The one thing I did notice, and it could have been partly with the stream I was watching, they did have some weird audio issues. Like, you'd have good, like...
That seems to be more of a Fight TV problem than anything.
Yeah, it's like you'd have moments where the crowd was mic'd really well. You could hear everything. You'd have moments where it'd like pop and it'd go out because Gage came out and he did the usual, where my fans at? And it sounded like nothing fucking happened. But then you hear the pop of the mic and then you could hear everyone like chanting and doing like they were supposed to be doing. And it didn't sound like the canned, recycled chanting.
And the reason I say that too is because I've heard on a lot of the AEW pay-per-views that air on Fight, like if you get the pay-per-view on like Charter or whatever your local cable is, the audio is fine, but then they'll say, well, the Fight TV broadcast, the audio was terrible.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like there were moments where like the commentary would get real fucking quiet, not like it'd sound like they were whispering even though they were talking at normal volumes, and it'd pop back, and it was real strange, man. But anyway, Gage came out. He called out the GCW crew, and they all like bum rushed the ring. So everyone that was going to be in the Battle Royal was out at one fucking time, basically. And it was just a ring full of wildness. And it came down to Bully Ray and fuck, I've just forgotten his name. But he's one of the GCW guys. He's the guy that wound up winning because he did a nice smooth counter maneuver. But it's just
were there light tubes involved?
No. The only kibble that came out, one guy brought in like an extra set of ring ropes from under the ring and kind of hung Joey Janela over the top rope with it.
Okay.
And then Bully Ray got a table out from under the ring.
Well, yeah.
And that's it. That is it. So it was very tame. And what's funny is they showed all these clips from classic Bunkhouse Battle Royals of all the fucking color and everything else going on. No color at all in this match. None. I was surprised and let down.
Were they in gear or did they come out in street clothes? Or, jeans and t-shirts?
GCW crew, jeans and t-shirts. Other people, mixed bag.
Okay.
Mixed bag. So, it was odd. It just had a weird vibe to it. It's like, it could have been really, really good.
Because the original concept of Bunkhouse was come as you are.
Yeah. So it was a mixed bag. Some of them came fully decked out. Others came, street clothes and ready to rumble. It just lacked the kind of energy I expected it to have. I expected more, like, ruthless, like, brawling. And, personally, I like a more controlled entrance to the Battle Royals. I don't like everyone in there at one time at the beginning.
Who actually provided the equipment for this show, like the stage and everything?
I don't know.
Was it? Because it was a combination of all three, wasn't it?
It was all the companies that were working. AEW, even though they weren't advertised, they were name dropped plenty. But the main ones, New Japan, Impact, GCW, MLW, and
Ring of Honor?
Yeah, slightly Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor kind of had the same, like, AEW thing.
Okay.
Where they were there, but not directly,
involved.
Yeah. But it was mostly, if we were to dial it down to the main three, we'd go New Japan, Impact, and surprisingly enough, GCW.
Because it's interesting when you think about it, because this was mainly put on by the Conrad group, I'll call them that.
Mm-hmm.
He was all in with AEW in the first get-go. He was doing all the promotions and all this stuff. And then it's like it kind of scaled back. Like there was a falling out or something. I was kind of curious to that.
Who knows, man? Who knows? But good things. They gave the winner the old school bronze boot and the fancy ass bunkhouse belt buckle. So Mance Warner was the winner, and him and the GCW crew filled that fucking boot with beer, and they were just knocking it back in front of everybody. And he's like, Tony, come see me backstage. We'll knock back a couple cold ones. And then he went on back. I was just like, mighty paraphrase, but he was basically saying, come on back.
Did they do interviews at the set?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
Not a lot, but a couple times.
It wasn't like the good days when people just randomly just show up.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like a few people did. It's just, there was a lot to take in a short period of time. So like they tried to hit all those retro high notes. So
it'll never top the Horseman just randomly coming out and just leaning on the little table thing.
It's true. Following that first match of the card, were you able to watch much of the card? Or did you just catch like highlights?
I just saw the highlights of the main event.
Okay. All right. So first match of the card was the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Wolves.
I saw the highlight of that.
Solid match.
The true American Wolves.
Eddie Edwards and
Davey Richards.
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, I thought one of them had retired fully and became a real estate agent.
Yeah, Eddie Edwards and David Richards. You're right. It was both. Apparently, there was some bad blood between Richards and Edwards for a long time, but they, I guess, reunited for this, or they've reunited recently, and they went up against Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. And
I met them at WrestleCade.
It was a solid match.
Not at the actual WrestleCade show, but the day before show.
Oh, very cool. I need to make it to WrestleCade one year. I have not been yet.
I've never been to the main show. I've always been to the Friday show because I always end up having to work that Saturday. It just always worked out that way.
Weird.
Or it was a snowstorm.
I just want to make it down there just for almost just the convention portion of it all. But, it's upshot with this. Scott D'Amore came out and did commentary with Tony and David. And he does great commentary. Scott D'Amore's good.
Hey, I love Team Canada and TNA today.
Yep.
No, I'm not joking. Team Canada was a hell of a
No, yeah,
hell
I
of a
know,
faction.
I know. It's
Think
just
of all the stars that were in that group.
Oh, so many. But I mean, it's just the name itself just makes you chuckle.
Eric Young, Robert Roode, Frankie Kazarian, I think, was in it.
I believe so, yeah.
There was a couple more. Petey Williams, before he got hooked up with Steiner and became Little Papa Pump.
Little Papa Pump. Yeah.
And the infamous math promo.
God, I love the math promo. But, we'll get sidetracked if we start talking about the math promo. Following that...
You can see it on the Impact channel on Pluto TV.
Yes, you can. But following that, we had Killer Cross versus Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Wasn't Grayson in love with Killer Cross?
Yes. Killer Cross is still really, really good. He's part of that Control Your Narrative crew too, but he's also mostly signed to MLW, so we can look past that one part. And then Davey Boy Smith's also with MLW. And I was surprised at how one-sided and fast this match was. There was a little bit of back and forth, but Cross dogged the shit out of him. Like, his win, he won with just a fucking, almost a Osprey style, hidden blade across the back of the head. They just pinned him. It's like, holy shit. It did not last long at all. And thus, it wasn't the most amazing match in the world. But, yeah. Following that, you had the four-way match. Konosuke Takeshita, Alan Angels, Nick Wayne, and Jonathan Gresham. All going for, this match was for a chance to challenge for the Progress World title.
Which one of these is not like the other?
Yes, so it's...
Alan Angels, we need a fourth person. You're the only one we could find.
Alan Angels is actually pretty good. It's just...
He got stuck with that Dark Order gimmick.
Dark Order, if they hadn't went comedy, I think they could have done well, but when they stuck him in Dark Order, he was always kind of like the fifth wheel, the third wheel. Fifth since he was 5. But anyway, he never really gelled, in my opinion. But he always put on really good matches, and technically he was very sound. He's just a smaller dude.
He just never got off dark.
Kinda. He had a few main events. I mean, he went toe to toe with Kenny like 2 different times, and they were some of the best matches they've done on like in a while. And so, you know, Takeshita we've seen a lot lately on AEW because he's out on excursion from DDT. He's about to head back. I think this is one of his last events before he heads back. He did really well. He was the tallest fucking person in this match. He was at least like a head taller than every other fucking person in this match.
So he was 5'8".
Man. See what you did there. But good stuff. Lots of like trading back and forth. Good. Like it's a classic Fatal 4-Way where they kind of had to tag to be legal. And they kept pretty good track of it. There were a couple moments where it got a little wild and kind of hinky to figure out who was who. But the finish was a finesse finish, and Jonathan Gresham stole the win. So Gresham won the chance to challenge for his own company's title.
I like tag Fatal 4-Ways when it's elimination, because when it's non-elimination style, it kind of don't make sense to have the tag.
I agree. Following that match, you had Ricky and Kerry Morton versus Brock Anderson and Brian Pillman Jr. Those two representing a Legacy 4 Horsemen. Pillman Jr. even came out in 4 Horsemen style tights. And I was like, I would be okay if Brock managed a resurrected version of the 4 Horsemen with Brock and Pillman in it and get like a couple others. I mean, sure, if you got
Fun fact, was it like his dad's 4 Horsemen tights?
Yes, it was.
You know who also wore those tights?
Oh.
Chris Benoit.
Oh, yes, he did.
After Pillman left, Benoit started wearing that same 4 style tights with the red, I guess you could say crotch area, thigh to crotch area.
Yep, it was. The seat, or like the, I mean, you could call it kind of the
inner
seat
thigh to the pelvic area.
Yeah, yeah, it had the red, like, reinforced patching area in there. But yeah, he had those pants, those sort of tights on, and the coolest part is he had, like, the red kick pads, so it had this modernized look, and it just looked really good. Like, aesthetically, they looked like they could have been, like, legit horsemen, and for the night, they were. And I like the idea of them being legacy horsemen and managed by Arn, because Arn came out with them. He, pretty much his blessing, and they even worked it kind of.
They should have done a promo of him at the table.
Oh man, that would have been great.
Just Pillman. Pillman's a good promo. Like, have Arn mainly talk for him, and just have Brock back there in the back with the old arms on the hips.
Yeah, the old quiet 10-mile stare of Arn Anderson
doing the.
Yeah, check the tape, looking tough. Oh, but I mean, Pillman worked the wild man, like loose cannon style in the ring, like a lot more high energy. And then when he tagged out to Brock came in and just kind of stopped, slowed the pace down.
Did Brock look more polished than he had in AEW?
He's looking pretty good, man. He's looking good. I have a feeling he's going to get real good.
Would you like to see the Legacy Horseman thing become a AEW Dynamite thing?
It wouldn't bother me. It really wouldn't, as long as you don't allow Tony Khan full control of it.
Only It's
just we need to, like, the 2 other members are going to be. It would be hard.
It's a damn shame Reed Flair overdose is the only thing I'm going to say.
True. The only way you could do it is you wouldn't really be able to get like other like legacy family members in there. You would just have to find some people that kind of, fit the bill. Like, I think Griff, once he gets a little more polished up, could kind of pull a Barry Windham role, because he is bigger than every other one of them. He just needs to put a little more size on.
Well,
and work a little more bruisery.
If Bray Wyatt wants to work as a rotunda.
You're right.
And not a weird. Well, he may be too tattooed to be a horseman.
I don't know. I mean, it's a modern era. I think he could still swing it. It just depends on, what type of angle he would want to work. But I think with Bray, he'd want to kind of do his own thing instead of latch on to like a legacy angle.
He may be too old for it too. These guys are probably 5-6 years younger than him, if not more.
Yeah, they're in their early to mid 20s tops. So I wouldn't want to break up the Varsity Blondes because they've got good chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Griff just needs a little more polish, and they just need more TV time. They haven't gotten a lot of TV time lately. But if you put Griff, since he's bigger, let him work a more hard-nosed style, I think he could fit kind of a Wyndham role. I really do. Now, whoever your Flair is going to be, your Flair-esque character, that's your tricky one. But...
Ooh. Out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
If the MGF thing was a worked, boom.
I mean, that would definitely be it, but I almost think he's too much. You know what I mean? Almost. I'm not saying it couldn't work.
Because the Pinnacle thing worked. It just never stayed with it.
Yeah. I mean, it could work. It's just, I almost feel like he would almost self-sabotage it because he'd think that the three people he's working with are below him.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, yes, they are. But when you looked at the Horsemen back in the day, they all seemed like they were on even footing, you know? So you need someone that's going to fall a little more equal on the card with them that still has that, you know, mouth and attitude. You know, like maybe even a Ricky Starks. I think Ricky would work a little better. I mean, he is better than them, but he doesn't have as much of that self-absorbed attitude that MJF does to where he just, you know.
He's got the Flair charisma.
Exactly.
And he's kind of out of Team Taz now.
I think it would work really well. There's a free idea. Make with it what you will. But, yeah. Anderson and Pillman did get the win over the Mortons. And both crews did pretty well. I mean, Bleacher Report was not kind to many of these matches. C's and B's were pretty much the flavor of the day with their grading scale. But
well, you know, it didn't. You know, it probably didn't have flips and dives and.
Oh no, we haven't gotten to the next match, which was a AAA sponsored, pure 4-way luchador match.
So it was Cirque du Soleil.
It was Cirque du Wild as fuck.
No. It was El Circo de Soleil.
I'll allow it. But yes,
Chori Pollo.
Oh, lots of chicken and sausage. Come on. But anyway, Ray Phoenix.
That's my new Mexican tag team.
It's so bad. So bad. But
our main event, Chori Pollo versus Pico de Gallo. Pico de Gallo does sound like a luchador's name.
It's bad that it sounds like a comedy character's name. It does.
He comes out in like a tomato color mask with a green shirt and then the white onion and little specks of cilantro in the tights.
The worst part is you basically just said he comes out in a comical version of the flag.
And he's like Curry Man.
Oh no, not Curry Man. No.
Pico de Gallo.
Oh, we gotta. That sounds like a Smoky Mountain Wrestling gimmick. Leave it alone. Next thing you know, Cornette's gonna come out and wrestle him like he did the Ninja Turtle. Oh, but okay, moving on.
It was for the kids, damn it.
It's for the kids. But yes. Okay, so Ray Phoenix, Black Taurus, Laredo Kid, and Bandito. This was the only match of the night where I saw.
You know why it didn't get a higher rating? No La Parka.
Well, this one actually got an A.
Oh. It got A plus if it had La Parka.
You're not wrong. La Parka is La Parka. And L.A. Park is L.A. Park is L.A. Park, who is also La Parka. So, you know.
The true La Parka is still alive. It was the knockoff that died, right?
It was one of. What it is, I read a whole thing. So, La Parka left, and they recast a new La Parka in AAA. And La Parka got angry, and he started calling himself L.A. Park, which is basically just La Parka. He runs just like LA. And they caused a whole bunch of ruckus, a whole bunch of drama, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, they got to the point now where, you know, he's like water under the bridge because I think the second La Parka died. And he's like, look, it's his now. I mean, I'm still going to be L.A. Park.
But it makes you would have thought he would have had that copyrighted all the years
It was owned by AAA. The character was owned by AAA, even though he performed it and thought it was his for so long.
Even all the way back in WCW.
Yeah, because he started in AAA before he went to WCW.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the hinkiness was. Did he own the character because he kind of developed it under the AAA banner, but they own the idea? Or did he own it because he kind of, created it, but they funded it?
I will always remember that Slamboree match where everybody's fighting around in that battle royal and he's on top of the chair.
I love La Parka. But, so this match right here had the only fucking kind of who made your butthole pucker type of fucking near botch of any of them for the whole thing. So, imagine hard cam side, far right turnbuckle. Mm-hmm. Laredo Kid sprints across the top rope towards the left turnbuckle, jumps, hits the top rope, and he's going to moonsault, but he hits it too deep in, so the momentum was going to throw him back towards the ring, so he forced it forward and kind of threw himself sideways and got a weird barrel roll moonsault instead of a clean forward facing one. And damn, if he hadn't thrown his weight the right way, he would have got fucked up. I'm telling you, fucked up. That was the only, all night long I was watching. Every match was pretty clean from a botch or miscue standpoint. Mm-hmm. That right there could have been the worst of the worst. I'm still surprised they gave the W to Phoenix. Well, I'm surprised, not surprised, because I would have gone Black Taurus, because that dude is fucking awesome. He's a goddamn monster.
He got a shot in the AEW, didn't he? Or
no. He's I don't know if he ever came over to AEW, but he's been doing a lot of shit with Impact.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been working a lot over at Impact. But
we need some Super Calo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Super Calo. Yes. Next, this one right here, this match had the worst schmoz finish. It just made me fucking angry. It was the Impact World Championship match, Josh Alexander versus Jacob Fatu from MLW.
That sounds like it'd been a great match.
Oh, it was good. Right up until fucking Brian Myers and Matt Cardona and who was the other one? Smart Mark Sterling came in and attacked everybody, and they threw the match out. That is what happened. And it was a double DQ. Match itself, before that point, so good. But that schmoz, in my opinion, brought it down. Granted, I did enjoy seeing DDP climb over the barricade, get in the ring, and cutter Matt Cardona. So I'm okay. That kind of saved the schmoz a minute. Because I'll just imagine DDP was like, man, fuck you guys for ruining this match. It was good. Boom.
I wish they find a way to get his Nirvana music back.
Which one?
The WCW music of his.
Oh yeah.
Self-high. It was just a not a lot of team spirit thing, just with DDP talking through it. Mm-hmm. I hate copyrights like that.
They do suck, man. But yeah, the following match, that was your Von Erichs versus Briscoes, and you see, smoking guns as fuck. But I liked seeing it. I thought the Von Erichs worked really well. We already talked about how them boys did what they do. And, surprisingly enough, they didn't win with a Doomsday device. They won with the Froggy Bow from the top. Just simple.
I'll say it again. One thing I love about Jay Lethal, not Jay Lethal, but Jay Briscoe.
What's that?
When he rears you back to do a neck breaker.
It's true. He ratchets it up. Next match, which was really, really nice. Knockouts Championship match. Jordan Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo versus Rachel Ellering.
I like Deonna Purrazzo.
I'm
and Rachel Ellering. Mm-hmm. Jordan Grace can go to hell.
She's doing really good, in my opinion. I think she's just fine.
She needs to stay off social media.
Well, she rescinded that remark because she got taught otherwise real fast. Conan tore her a fucking new one. And
so did Cornette.
Yeah, everyone did. And then she's like, okay, I didn't have all the facts. I said something fucking stupid. I'm like, Fair enough. You owned up to it.
I love Conan these days.
Conan's...
He don't give a shit.
No, he has been on point. This match, quite good. Really, really good. The only awkward spot was within fucking 3 minutes of the match happening. There were some double pins, and Jordan rolled in to roll Ellering up after Ellering had been rolled up by Purrazzo. And in doing so, Ellering's leg got trapped under Jordan, so when they rolled, she pinned the leg and like force pulled it through, not realizing that she was on top of it, and tweaked the shit out of Ellering's like ankle or whatever. Like she actually like rolled out of the ring, and the doctors came over and checked her on the apron while the other two were still going, and like they gave her the go-ahead. She competed the rest of the match, but she definitely was like favoring it from time to time. She'd go real hard for a minute, then take a second, like have to like knock it out, and then there was another time where she just kind of took a pause on the far apron, and then came back doing stuff again.
Wasn't Deonna Purrazzo a victim of NXT 2.0? As in, she was one of the ones let go when they took over? No. She's been Impact for a while now. I'm trying to think who was the one that got let go.
Jordan Grace got let go from them, if I remember correctly. And if I remember right, she's Jonathan Gresham's wife.
They power lift together.
Just from the looks of things, yes. But, I mean, that wasn't a bad match. I mean, in my opinion, I definitely would have given it higher than the C+ that they gave it. But it was solid. Ellering put on a damn good show. And it was also nice seeing Ellering there, since she's got that pedigree, being Paul Ellering's daughter and everything. And then we get to the last match. Let's see what they rated it. Oh, God, there's a lot. Bleacher Report typed a fucking... a C, maybe.
That would be nice.
Yeah, they were. I'm just going to say, like, I don't know whether we talked about it now or if we were talking about it off, but holy shit, if Andrade, Lethal, and Jarrett didn't carry that entire match. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know Flair is on the bad side of 70. I know. We all know. But, whew.
It was pitiful.
Like, I mean...
The entrance kind of just... I was expecting him at least to do the Flair entrance and be style and profile, but he just...
He seemed real stumbly, and...
The robe looked like it didn't fit.
The robe seemed a bit oversized. I mean, that could have been something as maybe, like...
He wore a t-shirt.
Well, I mean, I kind of understand why he wore the t-shirt.
You know, back to last Nitro.
Yeah, but it's just, it didn't have the energy I would have expected a Flair entrance to have. And again, like, I'm not going to fault him too much, because the fucker almost died a couple years ago from that hella stroke. So, Flair, it was a rough watch. I can give him a pass just because, you know, he almost died of a stroke. What was that, maybe 6 years ago? Then, you know, he has been working pretty hard with Jay Lethal and other people to, you know, get some of the ring rust off. But I don't know. I think some of the build-up, like, attacks they did beforehand kind of threw it off a bit. And that's probably one of the other things.
And I just saw the clips, but it looked like there was a lot of head pump shoot-offs with Flair. Not head pump, but headlock.
Oh yeah,
shoot-off.
He did a lot of side headlocks and headlock takeovers and shit like that. Lots of those, and then they pulled the classic Andre. They always made sure it positioned it near the ropes so he could get the ropes and get up easily. So they were playing to his weaknesses a fair bit, but it wasn't. You know, it was still really fucking noticeable. I mean, at least with Andre, in my opinion, it didn't seem as noticeable. I just look at it this way. You know, he went out against Michaels. Nobody really remembers the TNA run. You know, he went out against Michaels on top. Yeah.
This just really... This was more... It came off sad.
It's kind of like it was a vanity play. But, I mean, truly...
Maybe in his head he thought he still... They chanted, "You still got it." I don't agree with that. Jarrett still had it.
Oh, Jarrett definitely got
Jarrett could go on Raw right now.
Jarrett could go with anybody on any of the rosters right now. He looked fucking great. It's just like Flair, God love him, in my opinion, shouldn't have done this shit. He shouldn't have done this match. It was, to me, it was just kind of like a last shot at glory, just kind of an ego pump. People definitely, fueled his ego, but
I will give this credit. The build-up was great.
Oh, the build-up to this was classic. It had the best build-up, but the payoff as a whole was lacking.
I would have tweaked that could have made it better. I wouldn't have put Jay Lethal in, but Jerry Lawler.
Oh, yeah.
A true heel Jerry Lawler had Lawler and Jarrett both attack him.
I mean, the best part is Lawler was there earlier in the show. He was in the locker room with Jerry and Jeff Jarrett in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he in full King garb, or was he kind of dressed out?
Just regular. He was dressed down. Just t-shirt and jeans. But he was talking shit to the people that came in. Talking shit about Flair, etc. and so on. Just like, kayfabe shit talk, for the story.
Because there's nothing, if you've never watched some of the old 90s Raws, unfiltered Jerry Lawler is gold.
Oh, God.
That Goldust promo still to this day.
Jesus Christ. Jerry Lawler is a product of his time. 100%. And looking back at it, I can enjoy it. But at the same time, I just think of what would happen today if he said half of what he said back then. Jesus Christ.
Have you watched some of his old Memphis stuff?
Yes. It's wild shit. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I have an appreciation for it. I realize times have changed, and that doesn't mean I have to pretend it never existed. I can still appreciate it and realize,
I will put it to you this way. The Jerry Lawler pulling down the strap, it's better than the Hogan hulking up ever would be.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And one thing I noticed about Lawler that was smart, he never done the pile driver every match. Because I watched in Mid-South, he had a short run there, and he didn't do a pile driver. He finished with the second rope. What Brett does, that forearm. Austin did it to the forearm off the second rope. He was finishing matches with his squash matches with that. But that
save the big boy for the big boys.
I don't know if they ever had a big boy payoff. I think he may have went back to Memphis. So I always wanted to find out exactly how that happened with Lawler in Mid-South. If it was just like a deal between Jarrett, we'll let you have Jerry for a couple weeks. The way he talked like he was going to go for the title, and then it's just like he's gone.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
So at the same time, they made the deal for the Midnight and the Rock and Roll. Because like the Cornette and the Express debuted like a week before, and then they say, the week after that, Jerry Lawler's right there wrestling the job match.
Yeah, it's tricky. The old days of territorial politics are some of the most convoluted fucking things in the world.
Wish till we lived back in that day where every Saturday night we'd go pay $10 and go watch wrestling.
Somewhere, yeah. It would be great if you were able to go pay for some legit good wrestling. That was the indies back then. Now the indies are, they're what they are.
You don't want to go back every week like you did with the territories to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just this guy with this guy, then the next time they come to town, it's, he's with another guy. It's like, we're just going to put on a match and see what happens.
Yeah, we were born too late to catch on to some of this era of stuff, but we were born into a good time to catch a lot of what we did. Now, again, back as an overall good way to wrap things up, I'll say Andrade looked damn good. The family looked strong. Jarrett's wife, what was it, Kelly? Karen definitely told Flair's daughter, "I'm gonna fuck you up, bitch," and they caught that on mic. Because there was definitely some hair pulling and some tussling with them in the crowd. There was a shitload of crowd interaction with that final match. Jarrett grabbed someone's drink and fucking threw it back on him, walking down the ramp and just talking mad shit. There was a bunch of grabbing and everything.
That's Memphis Jarrett coming out.
Yeah, there was tons of fucking wild shit going on.
He wanted to jump the rail.
Yeah, it was wild, man. It had a great build, even if the match was subpar. And, you know, the finish. All right, so Jarrett brains Lethal with the guitar because Lethal's initially holding Flair up.
Andrade pulls Flair out of the way.
And then whammo. And then Andrade goes over to
Conrad.
Yeah, there it is, Conrad. And gets some brass knucks from Conrad. It comes in while Flair's kind of crawling over to the ropes, and he slides him to him. He starts to put him on Flair's hand, but he puts him on like Flair's left hand. And Flair like slides his hands out, picks them up, and puts them on the other, and turns around and just clocks fucking Jarrett in the head. And then does the classic Flair drops down. You see him sneaky slide it into his knee pad, then puts Jarrett in the figure 4. And
it took forever.
It didn't take a long time to get him in the figure 4. But what happened was Jarrett being knocked out, they counted it as a pin instead of a submission.
I know. Did you notice the one thing about it? It was actually a draw.
Yeah, because both of them had their shoulders down. Yeah. But they weren't going to do that.
I think that's the only time the figure 4 ever been counted as a pin. And Mike Chioda had his referee shirt with his name on the back of it. I didn't know who he was. I'm really shocked they didn't get Earl for that.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, Earl's pretty much, is done just like his brother. They're just coming back for regular.
His brother's dead.
Oh, sorry. I meant son, sorry. Yeah. The damn Hebner family's in wrestling like fucking ticks, so it's hard for me to keep them separated sometimes. But yeah, Earl and son. So the son just retired. Earl did his little like one-off with his son back at Slammiversary. So that's probably why they didn't do anything at this one, because they just did their big
hoopla
Hebner family pop. But it's good to see Chioda again, because last I saw Chioda, I was like,
AEW.
yeah, and I was like, where's my Chioda at? They fucking hyped up signing him for so long.
You know, I'll tell you something interesting. I used to know every referee in the WWF. I don't know a single one in WWE anymore.
If I do.
I'll name them all right now. It was Jack Dome, Tim Watt, Mike Chioda, Jimmy Corderas, and Earl Hebner.
Yeah, Tim White died.
Yep, just recently.
Yeah, Earl's just a legend. Chioda, he's working towards legend status. He's been around the block a few times. He's no Hebner, but he's not up there.
He was always the number 2 guy below Hebner.
Yeah.
I would say Tim White was number 3. I don't know, it'd be a close.
What happened to Nick Patrick? Did he die?
No, he just retired.
He just retired? I was always
His
a big fan.
His dad died, Jody Hamilton.
Yeah. I was always a big fan of Nick Patrick. He's up there in referee status for
when
me.
He wore the cuckold mask when he's in the NWO. I was like, I'm going to show him who I am.
Yeah.
That was during the image. He got a bicycle on Saturday night. Big Bubba got a bicycle.
Oh, God. But...
he got a bicycle, Tony Schiavone.
Schiavone! That's the one thing I was sad that Flair didn't do. He didn't do the classic Schiavone. And I was like, oh, man. It was sad. But, Flair went out with a nice little speech at the end of his whole thing.
Yeah.
And that was good.
He got color, of course, because Flair always has to get color.
Flair got to get color in one of those matches. And no, it is what it is. But it was cool. He got hugs and, handshakes and dap-ups from everybody. He was all teary, but he was like, what they say about me is true. I'm going out to get drunk with Kid Rock after the show. I was like, oh, God. Because Kid Rock was in the crowd. Because Kid Rock was at SummerSlam, too.
And Kid Rock's a Republican.
Yeah. Kid Rock is Kid Rock is Kid Rock. But, yeah. If I was going to say anything, the hype leading up to this show was far better than the show. But as a whole, the show wasn't terrible. It was a good...
independent wrestling show.
Yeah, technically that's what it was, even though it was put on by some of the biggest companies.
Indie show. It was more or less like WrestleCade's convention show.
Showcase.
Because it was tied in with StarCast, right?
StarCast 5, yeah. Let's call it a showcase program. Showcasing talent from everybody. It was a good throwback show. If I were to, give it like a true rating, like if I were to go 7, out of 10, I wouldn't be able to give it more than a 6.5 or a 7 tops.
I'd put it on par with WrestleCade.
Okay, yeah, I can
I've
see
never
that.
really seen a WrestleCade be like, oh my god.
Yeah, it wasn't blow your mind good, but it wasn't terrible. And then, I mean, truly, the only lacking matches were the bunkhouse match and the final one. But the final one only suffered because it was a vanity match. But everyone performing in it did their best. 3 out of the 4 looked damn good, and the other one did a shitload of chops.
Mm-hmm.
Ton of chops. And again, Flair, we all know Flair's 70 plus. It is what it is. We got what we expected from a 70-year-old. Not everyone can be fucking Dory Funk.
Or Terry Funk.
Or Terry. And, well...
That damn Funk gene.
Funks don't die. They just get more funky.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, with that, that's pretty much what we wanted to go for. Like, that was the biggest thing going on in wrestling this week. I mean, I think the hype for that eclipsed SummerSlam. And so...
What do you think about SummerSlam being on a Saturday?
That was weird, because I thought Flair's final match was going to be Saturday and SummerSlam Sunday, like always. But it was flipped around. I almost think that's because they were both in Nashville, and that's Jarrett country. So Jarrett got that Sunday booking.
I think it was more to do with travel.
That could also be it.
WWE's got the idea, if we're going to bring this many people in, let's do it on Saturday so everybody can get back home by Sunday to be back at work on Monday.
Could be. Could be.
Because SummerSlam wasn't like WrestleMania. You know, WrestleMania, everybody pretty much plans on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and come back on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. WrestleMania is going to be in Philadelphia this year.
Is it going to be in the stadium?
I think so. It's like a 3-hour drive for me.
Philadelphia in March, in early April.
Mm-hmm. I'm tempted.
That could be some.
I'm real tempted.
That can be some iffy weather.
It can be, but I'm real tempted. I've never been to Mania. I could do it, and this will be the first Triple H Mania.
Yeah, I just don't. Philadelphia, it wouldn't be a place I'd want to stay.
I mean, like I said,
I'm skeptical about a lot of places. Like I don't want to go to DC. I was considering going to a Nationals game, and then as soon as I started considering, people started getting shot outside Nationals games. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go there now.
That area's gotten super gentrified. You don't have to worry about that at all, man. It's super nice over there now.
This was just last year.
It's super nice. Like, I mean, honestly, if that was happening, it's just a one-off thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, National Stadium's built, like, real close to, like, Southeast. Well, it's technically in Southeast. And Southeast DC being the roughest part of DC. But it's still so close to, like, Center City. Mm-hmm. It's real nice. And so anything that happened over there really wasn't as bad as, you know.
I guess that'd probably be the way that Philadelphia is when it comes to the sports stadiums. You know, it's pretty...
Mm-hmm. They're going to keep that pretty tame to keep people coming in. Mm-hmm. Random things are going to happen. It is what it is.
One nice thing about that is all the arenas are right there together.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Wells Fargo Arena, the football stadium, and the baseball stadium are all right there in the same complex.
Yeah, if I can do it, I mean, I'd definitely buy a fucking ticket to Mania, even if it was a nosebleed. Just to say I've been. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would hate to have a nosebleed seat, but, I mean, it's a WWE show. It's all I'll be able to fucking afford.
And there'll be big screens.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, we're in a new era now. Maybe the days of having to watch half the show on a screen is over.
Who's to say? But I'll definitely give it a go. But, on that note, we're going to call it an evening, everybody. We just really wanted to get in, have some different thoughts on everything.
It's been an interesting month.
It has been an interesting month, and we will definitely try to keep you informed on, you know, the happenings in WWE now that we're in the post-Vince era, and me being I've wanted WWE to get better for so long and said Vince was the problem. I feel like I'm finally been, you know.
I think the days of people eating a lot of food and going out and having a match and puking are over. And maybe they won't do a Thanksgiving Day food fight again for never again.
Oh man, the gobbledygooker. But anyway,
no. Every Thanksgiving there's always a food fight.
Oh yeah, that is right. You're right. I always forget about the food fights.
And I love all the fart humor in the world, but the WWE stuff is just.
Vince had the comedy chops of a child. Mm-hmm. A very, very rich child.
Now, Eddie Guerrero giving Big Show a tainted burrito. Now, that was funny.
Yeah, that was humorous. I mean, that's like
because Eddie Guerrero sold it.
That's the classic mall rats. Want a chocolate covered pretzel?
I gave you diarrhea, Holmes.
God, I love Guerrero. But yeah, we'll be back again pretty soon. I think this will be part 1 of the recapping of SummerSlam and Flair's final match next week. I know Chappell wanted to be here tonight, but he had some other plans that came up, so next week he wants to come and talk about that. So next week we'll probably have a short, quick one with Chappell talking about some of the same things and anything else that pops up between then and now. Beyond that, we do have big changes coming in the future. I'm thinking main format thing, most I'll give up to you is we're going to dial back the news stuff substantially, keeping the speculation happening mostly like within like a week or so of most pay-per-views, and then other shows are going to have a different format completely. So these are all things that are in the works just to make the show a little more enjoyable and to get more repeat views, because news has a shelf life, as we all know. But beyond that, hope everyone enjoyed the show. Thanks again to Falcon and the Polar for making us sound good. Hopefully this mic session doesn't sound like dog shit. And with that, we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Big Lots.
Yes, thank you, Big Lots.
For your parking lot.
Yes.